You should be ashamed for the rest of time to have clips on the internet, clips that people can pull up at will.
I don't know about you, but I'm offended that somebody in 2023 would subpoena my phone records to find out where I was at when I called somebody and who I called and where they were at. It's none of their damn business. I have a constitutional duty, like the rest of us here, as chairman of the committee regarding the 2020 election. I don't think the 2020 election bothered anybody until Trump decided to run in 2024.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Dollemore Daily. I'm your host, Boston Bryan, host of Blunt Politics, and filling in for Jesse while he's traveling home. And oh boy, Lindsey Graham. There's just sometimes you come across in these instances when you do the work that I do, and coming across these clips that you see that just enrage you without warning, and there's nothing you can do to control it. It is just sometimes you just can't help but be incensed at some of the hypocrisy, the bullshit, and the lies and the cowardice coming from these people. This time being a half-drunk sounding Lindsey Graham, telling you that nobody cared about the 2020 election until Donald Trump decided to run in 2024. Now, just to run you through a bit of the hypocrisy here, this is Lindsey Graham, who was legally implicated in the 2020 shenanigans surrounding the 2020 election because he called Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State for Georgia, to pressure him to somehow lose votes or to throw away votes so that Donald Trump could win that state. And this is what Brad Raffensperger had to say on that matter after it was found out that Lindsey Graham had made those phone calls. Check it out.
That then Senator Graham implied, for us to audit the envelopes and throw out ballots of counties who had the highest frequency error rate of signatures, and told him that's something that we couldn't do. And I probably then just realized, didn't know what to do with that. So I just thought, well, let me talk to our counsel and I'll call you back. And I never called him back. And then all of a sudden, President Trump tweeted out, and Attorney Lynn Wood's lawsuit was really along that same line. And if we look at that Michigan lawsuit that's been filed, it's really along that same law.
So when a sackless coward like Lindsey Graham goes on to say stupid shit like this,
I don't think the 2020 election bothered anybody until Trump decided to run in 2024.
He should probably take a long, hard look in the mirror, because it was he who was used as a political pawn, as a political weapon by his Fuhrer, Donald Trump, so he could make phone calls, illegal phone calls, and pressure state election officials to throw away votes in order to give Donald Trump the game, in order to give away the election to Donald Trump. So when he tells you that nobody cared about the 2020 election, it's the most blatant, utter hypocrisy you could possibly imagine. I mean, who can forget this moment, one of the most famous moments after January 6th, when the Republicans stormed the Capitol in order to try to stop the certification of the election because they didn't approve. When Lindsey Graham said he was out, count him out. It was done. He's seen enough. And then I'll show you just after this what it took for Lindsey Graham to get back on the Trump train, to get back on the Trump bandwagon. And it wasn't being treated nicely by the people that he's surrounded by, I can tell you that much. But here's the most famous, probably the most famous clip of Lindsey Graham after January 6th. Check it out.
And it gives credibility to a dark chapter of our history. That's why I'm not with you. But I will fight to my death for you. You're able to object. You're not doing anything wrong. Other people have objected. I just think it's a uniquely bad idea to delay this election. Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it to end this way. Oh my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president. But today, first thing you'll see. All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough. I've tried to be helpful.
Yeah, you really stuck to your guns on that one, didn't you, Lindsey? And don't forget this lesser-known clip from around the same time frame, from after January 6th, where Lindsey Graham actually went on national television fighting back the tears, doing his best to hold back the emotion, because he's so distraught that he has to go on TV to criticize his dear friend, his dear leader, the Fuhrer, Donald Trump, who wouldn't piss on Lindsey's grave if he was on fire, after he again sicked his entire fucking political base onto the Capitol in order to stop the counting of a free and fair election, actively putting people and officers and politicians in active danger, causing active harm. And then we can take a look at how MAGA managed to sway Lindsey Graham to get back on the gravy train, to get back on the Trump train. And again, it didn't take too much coercion. It didn't take too much persuasion. But here it is, Lindsey Graham in the lesser-known clip from after January 6th, where he actually is fighting back the tears because he's so cowardly, and he's so afraid that he has to go on television and call out his dear friend, his dear leader. Check it out.
It breaks my heart that my friend, a president of a consequence, would allow yesterday to happen. And it will be a major part of his presidency.
Which brings us to my favorite part of this infuriating, hypocritical story. It's where Lindsey Graham was finally treated by his MAGA folk, where he dared go against the grain, where he dared step out of bounds, where he dared go against what the Fuhrer was trying to accomplish, when he for a second tried to, or at least thought he was going to stand on his beliefs, even though that would only bring him up to about 5-4. For a second, he stood on his beliefs. But what did it take for him to get back behind Donald Trump, the man he said he was done with, the man he said he had tried to help, the man he said and had been proven to have made illegal phone calls to people like Brad Raffensperger to get him to, try to sway the election, to get him to toss out votes in order to hand the election to Donald Trump? What did he get for all of his services? How was he treated when he was, greeted in public? How did his MAGA base treat him and receive him in the airport? This is my favorite part. Look at how he was received, and it literally only took about 1 or 2 of these moments in order to push Lindsey Graham right back into MAGA's arms, right back into Donald Trump's grasp. He obviously has no principles, no beliefs. He's a soulless hack. He should be ashamed for the rest of time to have clips on the internet, clips that people can pull up at will, hearing him say the things that he said after January 6th, and then to see him now talking about the 2020 election like nobody gave a shit, like nobody cared, like the people didn't storm the Capitol as a result, like there wasn't a noose and a gallows put outside of the Capitol as a result, like Donald Trump didn't try everything under the sun to steal that election. I mean, the hypocrisy is almost too much to take. But let's take a look here at this beauteous clip of how MAGA treated Lindsey Graham when seeing him at the airport after his comments after January 6th, when he was no longer on the Trump train. And then look at Lindsey now.
You traitor! You traitor! You traitor! You're a traitor! Lindsey Graham, you are a traitor to the country! You know it was rigged! You know it was rigged! You know it was rigged! You garbage human being! It's gonna be like this forever, wherever you go for the rest of your life! Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Audit the vote! Piece of shit!
Oh, some days when I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling depressed, I pull that clip up and I actually start feeling immediately better about myself. But even after everything that Lindsey Graham has gone back on, he's, walked back every one of his statements. He's done everything that Donald Trump and MAGA has asked of them since. He still to this day does not have the respect of not only Donald Trump, but the MAGA base. They still cannot stand him or people like him. Donald Trump absolutely, again, like I said, wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. And that's at the absolute truth. There's just no getting around that. Lindsey Graham immediately found himself on the outside of both camps as soon as he made those statements. Yes, they were going to accept him because they need his vote. Yes, they were going to accept him because they need him as a propaganda mouthpiece for this Trump regime. But in no way, shape, or form are they going to show him respect on any level when they don't need to, when he's not wanted, when he's not needed. He's just going to be shunned to the side exactly like he was, exactly like that lady was saying he was going to be walking through that airport. It was never going to stop, and it has never stopped. Even though, again, this guy has bent the knee, has kissed the boot at every single turn, he still will not get that respect back from the base, and he's lost that completely. But, for him to bring up the 2020 election, for him to bring up, his phone calls and people not, needing the access to where he was or where he called, he was talking directly about his calls to Brad Raffensperger. And when he talks about people not caring about the 2020 election until Donald Trump decided to run in 2024, that is just complete and utter bullshit. Well, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for the opportunity here at the Dollemore Daily. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, please feel free to hit a like on this video. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you like anything you're hearing from me, please feel free. Give me a chance over at Blunt Politics, over at Boston Brian here on YouTube. Check it out. Give me a shot. If you like what you're hearing over there, hit me with a like, hit me with a follow, hit me with a subscription. I would very much appreciate it. Until next time, keep kicking ass. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Don't let up on these people. No matter what you do, do not let up on these people. All right, let's get rid of these corrupt hacks once and for all. I appreciate you guys. I'm Boston Brian. I'll catch you on the next one.